Hello, everyone! Welcome back to Katy versus the Lord of the Rings, the show where I read through the Lord of the Rings and give you my unsolicited opinions, because there's not enough unsolicited opinions on the internet. Well, I've done it. After many weeks, I have finished The Fellowship of the Ring! And the ending kind of just snuck up on me out of nowhere because I forgot that the movie goes into the Two Towers a little bit. So when no Urukai showed up, I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're done now. Anyway, since my last recording, I listened to Galadriel speaking a lot in the passive voice. Then she gave the Fellowship some gifts of dirt and hair and sent them on their way. Then they traveled in boats for a while. They got stalked by some orcs. They talked about splitting up and going their separate ways, and Boromir went all crazy and tried to steal the ring, and then Frodo ran off and Sam chased him, and then the book ended. So there we are. What are my overall thoughts? I struggle with rating books. Like, I'm not going to give this book a star rating. My problem is because sometimes I'll read like some pop novel or something that maybe wasn't like a great masterpiece of literature or anything, but it really just got my blood pumping and left me feeling like shaking with tension, and I love that, so I'll give that book a 5-star rating. But then if I like give Lord of the Rings like the same rating as some random, like, I don't know, pop vampire book or everything, that's weird because they're just not even the same thing. So yeah, it's hard. So I'll just kind of talk about this book in isolation and not give it any kind of a star rating because that would be weird. Um, so yeah, this book is amazing. It is as good as I remember it being. And I'd say the only parts in this book where really I started to like zone out or lose interest was there was a part in Tom Bombadil when he's telling them stories, which I feel like simultaneously has too much and not enough detail. Like, the writing's going on is like, and then he told them a story about this, doesn't give any like specific details about that story, and then he told them another story about this and another story about this, and I'm like, okay, either give us more details about the specific stories he's telling or just say he told them stories and move on. So there was that. And then Lothlorien, actually, really any time that the focus moved from the hobbits onto the elves, I started to lose interest because like the hobbits are so much the heart of this story, and I just, everyone in Middle Earth is so infatuated by the elves. And like, I get it. They're a fun group of people. They're good to party, except the Lothlorien elves, which are kind of more like the stoned elves from the movies, which I don't get why everyone is so like infatuated with Galadriel. I mean, maybe it's a guy thing. Maybe she's just super hot, and I don't know. I don't just I don't get it. I was bored at that part. But yeah, everything else, I mean, there's just so much heart in this book, so many like iconic scenes in this book. Uh just Mines of Moria, like every time I think about Fellowship, I think of the entire Mines of Moria sequence. Like, it's creepy, it's action packed. Um the way this book builds tension is phenomenal. It is very kind of a slow and like creepy build up, whereas I feel like there's a lot more action in the movie, like with the Black Riders like chasing them very early on in the movie, whereas it was just kind of like they were kind of stalking them in like a slow, creepy way in the book. So, I mean, the characters, the tension, the action, everything here is just fantastic. So, yes, great book. Do recommend Fellowship of the Ring. A little bit overhyped, but not that much overhyped. So, good job. Do recommend. 5 stars, I guess. If I'm going to give it a star rating, which star ratings mean nothing to me. Now I'm going to try to do the next sort of season of this series. I'm going to be jumping into the Two Towers. And that is where I lost interest when I started reading when I was a teenager because it was just so dense. So this is going to be interesting. See if I, as now a mature adult woman, can handle the Two Towers. if I can get through all of the descriptions. We'll see. We'll see. But here's the thing. I am actually driving across the country next week. So I'm going to be a captive audience in my car. So I'm just going to put on the two towers and maybe I'll send you some updates from the road. I'm in the middle of moving right now, thus the chaos behind me. And so yeah, we will see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'll let you know if I can't handle it, and then you all can laugh at me and say I'm just not smart or sophisticated enough to appreciate this brilliant masterpiece, which, you know what, maybe I'm not. If I'm not, that's okay. I'll go back to reading my pop novels and be happy. You guys can all be brilliant without me. That's fine. Anyway, I will see you next time, jumping into the Two Towers.